Hello, I'm Shailendra Singh and I'm the CEO and the founder of Cellomatics Biosciences. Well, Cellomatics is a lab-based contract research organization and we provide preclinical lab-based services within 5 focused therapeutic areas. And as a CRO, what we specialize is in creating more complex cell-based models that can recapitulate in vivo disease biology. So the 5 therapeutic areas include oncology, immunology, inflammation, respiratory, and immuno-oncology. I started as a medical doctor, so I did my specialization in pathology and immunology. So that was my start of my scientific career. So I was always intrigued by scientific research, so moved to the UK to pursue my PhD, which I did it from the University of Nottingham, following which I did a couple of postdoc positions and then moved to work for a biotech company based in London called hVivo. Whilst working at the biotech company, I tried to understand if there are any gaps within the kind of the market where the CRO services could be more of interest or where the services would be more valuable. And that's when I started doing my market research and found a niche area where I thought my experience would nicely correlate with. And I always had the passion, ambition, and drive to start up something of my own, to be more entrepreneurial. And I think that's how the journey started. Of course, as a startup company, there were always huge challenges right from day one. I think the first one was always ensuring that you get the first client on board. And how do you convince the client to come on board? And that challenge, we try to face it by ensuring that we had the right quality in-house data in order to ensure that the clients would have the visibility on the quality of the work that we do. Apart from that, of course, there will be cash flow challenges, particularly in the first year or in the first starting couple of years. But I think what I had prepared myself when I had founded this business was to ensure that we had enough capital, enough runway for at least 2 years, assuming that there would be no business during that period of time. So that was what helped us going in the first 2 years. But it was also helped by that we had started getting client projects within those 2 years. So the motivation to continue is, I think you have put in all the hard efforts for the last 9 years now. You have got the company up to a certain level. We also employ up to 20 people within the company. So I think there's a lot more responsibility on me now to look after them, to look after the welfare of the company's staff as well. That's one of the motivations, but also my inner drive is to grow the company further and try to emulate what some other bigger CROs have done so. So that keeps me going. And of course, my love for science and trying to see how we can support bringing the different therapies onto the market for a lot of diseases which are currently within the zone of unmet medical need. So the challenges we faced during the early startup period were different. Of course, that was more about cash flow, ensuring that we had enough runway. As we grew, the challenges have become different. Now we are facing challenges in terms of retaining, resourcing people with this strong expertise, scientists with that kind of skills and experience. I think that's one of the main challenges. Funding has always been a challenge, especially in our CRO sector, because there are so many players within the sector, and it's always very difficult to find a very niche or differentiate yourself from other CROs. So that's always been a challenge, but I think what we are looking for ourselves is to grow organically. The third challenge I would say is in terms of the resources, equipments, grant funding, which I think have become a bit on the low because of the EU exit and so on and so forth. So these are the kind of the main challenges now we encounter. Cellomatics differentiates itself from other CROs is that we focus on generating more complex cell-based models that can capture in vivo disease biology as accurately as possible. So we try to work with our partners, with our collaborators as closely as possible in order to ensure that we provide them customized solutions. So this is one of the key differentiators. The second is we have access to to recruit volunteers to collect fresh blood and isolate fresh primary immune cells, which are essential for a lot of the assays that we do. As within the sector, people will appreciate that the fresh primary immune cells work much better than the cryopreserved ones. So that's one of our other key strengths. So collaboration is indeed a good thing, but you have to think it carefully with whom you collaborate, what are the reasons for your collaboration, and also the long-term vision as to what you're looking for in terms of that collaboration. So I think UK has always been a place of excellent scientific research, and this is also one of the main reasons what prompted me to move over to the UK to pursue my PhD, because of the excellent facilities, the excellent resources, the excellent scientific person and guide. So I think that's one of the main reasons why the UK PLC, which is formed by these kind of scientists who have gone through some acclaimed universities like University of Nottingham, University of Cambridge, University of Oxford. So we know that they have the right kind of skills and experience to provide this kind of services that the clients are looking worldwide. With Cellomatics, as I mentioned, I'm looking to grow the company further. So there are several opportunities for us to grow. One would be to expand the kind of service offerings we have into different therapeutic areas, which are closely related to what we actually perform now. Secondly, we are also looking for adding more capabilities, adding more kind of service offerings within the company, or even looking for some investors to come on board in order to support our buy and build strategy. So with which I mean that we want to go forwards and have the ability to go and acquire some CROs of similar size who have complementary capabilities. So highlights of my career I would start off with first. So of course the first one was completing my medical qualification followed by my PhD. And then as I move on to the Cellomatics, which is kind of intertwined with my highlight as well, is like establishing, incorporating the company. So that was such an important and a big decision, which I'm very proud of. And then moving on to the highlights for Cellomatics was, I think the topmost would be the Queen's Award for International Trade, which was such a wonderful experience for me, and also such a recognition and a boost for the entire staff at Cellomatics. So that would be the major highlight. And then also getting some regional recognition or other awards, especially from Medilink, Pharma Industry Awards. So these have been some of the major highlights. And of course, if I look at the journey of the business, so initially we were only targeting or catering to UK-based clients. But 3-4 years back, we also started expanding ourselves into the US market, which is one of the biggest markets. And now we have reached a stage where we are probably equal in terms of generating revenues from the UK versus the US market. So I think that's another highlight I would say. I would always encourage, because I think it depends on what drives you. If you are driven by a particular passion, whatever field or sector you may be, I think you should never give up. You have to think carefully, you have to plan carefully, you have to take some risks, but I would suggest take some calculated risks, do your homework well before you start jumping, but be prepared, be mentally prepared, be physically prepared, and also be financially prepared to sustain yourself for a period of time, because at that point in the first few years of your business, you don't want to be worrying about whether I have enough finances to cover myself, but what you would be worrying about is how do I go about generating business, whom do I approach, what do I approach, what do I need to do. So this is where all the focus should lie on. But my advice would be you should always go and pursue your dream, because there's only one life and you've got to live it.